What's up, Tiger Nation? Steve Leslie, YSNLive.com. Coach's Corner. Week 14 as the Tigers get ready to face Mogadore. Coach's Corners sponsored by WRS Wealth Advisors. Cannot thank them enough for all they do for all of us at YSN and Springfield Tiger football. All season long, proud to be joined by Coach Guerriero. Week 14. Anytime we say, Coach, you can talk each week, that's a good thing. How's everything going?
Everything's going well. I think our kids had a good week of practice. Not too many adjustments going on. We just want to be able to have our kids line up and be able to play fast and take care of the football and take care of the details this week.
Yeah, take care of details for sure. We'll face a good Mogadore football team. We'll get into that, Coach. But go back to last Saturday night, Columbia Station, a good football team. And I remember talking, you wanted to see the team get off to a fast start, do things well. Couldn't ask for a better start than the Tigers got. Talk about that last week's game and some of the things you want to improve on from there.
Well, for us, I felt like we were pretty solid in the first half. Coming out at halftime, we had a couple holding calls. We got penalized a little bit, so we definitely have to clean that up. Those things are magnified now when you get into these games where you have that lesser margin of error to be able to deal with. So on film, we were able to talk about that and try to clean that stuff up. And it gives our kids something to work for. I think when you're at this level, like you said, playing the week 14 and you still have things to correct, I think that's a positive for us to know that we haven't reached our full potential or played our best game yet.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's dive into that a little bit. You say about watching film and doing those types of things. I talked with AJ about Coach Brungard, about Coach Slopek. There's so many coaches on your team, Coach Miller, Coach Popio, your whole staff that does a great job for you. How important is that for you? Maybe Tiger Nation doesn't understand the daily things that quality assistant football coaches do. As we get here in week 14, talk about those guys a little bit and what they mean to Springfield football.
Well, I think it's every week I try to end up mentioning those guys. Guys that have been with me, and I think that's one thing that's been a positive about our program is between Coach Slopek, Coach Miller, Coach Antonucci, those guys have been with me for, 14, 15 years. And to be able to have that continuity of our staff. I know Coach Brungard now, so I think he's been there for 6 years maybe. Coach Pope was a new addition. But to be able to have, to go into a staff meeting and to get our kids prepared, not mattering who says what or who gives a suggestion, the best thing that happens is that there is no egos. I know for myself that I think everybody on my staff could be a head coach right now. And those guys do a great job, and it's about putting our kids in the best situation possible, and just making sure it doesn't matter who comes up with the idea, but we just need to make sure that we're putting our kids in those good situations where they're able to succeed.
Well, shout out to those guys for sure. Shout out to all your coaches. I want to share something with you. I'm proud to be a family member of yours, proud of all your accomplishments. I know your family also is. AJ Stallsmith, I asked to mention a word about Coach Guerriero, and he said you're a father figure. And Sean, that was such a powerful thing to hear a young student athlete say. And you're one of those figures for this entire football team, but mainly these seniors that you've been around so good. So to hear an AJ Stallsmith say you're a father figure with kids of your own, what does that mean to you?
Well, that does mean a lot, especially with the relationship that I do have with AJ. I thought definitely he would end up calling me a goon or one of those type of things, because the same thing. Like I said, we're hard on our kids. We try to push them until they can reach their full potential. And with AJ, he's kind of a little bit of a goofball himself, but he has a switch where he can turn it on. One thing with him that I talk to every senior, on senior night and just try to give him a message. I've seen AJ grow up through the past couple of years as, who's turned into a young man who's a captain on our football team this year, who was voted by his kids. So you see a kid like that has developed, and what a great football player that he has become. And like I said, with the time that we spend with our kids, to hear that from AJ, to me, that's a great accomplishment for myself. That's definitely for me is something that kind of just, touching, because he always makes fun of me because he said, you're just like one of us. There's time to have fun. And when we celebrate, but when there's time to get to work, we get to work. But I have a lot of fun with our kids. And I think that just is the relationship that we have. We have to know when it's time to work and when it's time to have fun. But I just that's kind of touching for him. I appreciate that. And like I said, it was good seeing AJ grow up over the years and what a fine young man he is.
Well, that's awesome. So quick shout out to you and your entire staff. There's a lot of father figures on your football staff, no doubt. With Coach Guerriero, Coach's Corner, Week 14 regional final. We'll get into the Mogadore game. We talked off air, No Shave November, Father Shorey, the police department. Share some of this with the Springfield Nation that maybe doesn't know the story.
Well, for right now, we're doing a no shave November. A couple of our male teachers are doing it. Father Shorey used to be the pastor at St. Paul's. He passed away a couple years ago. And between the Springfield Township Police Department, we've donated money to the Cancer Society, and that's why we're doing it for him or someone. He was such a visible figure in our community that he used to go around with the police. Part of St. Paul's, did a great job there. So anything we can do to try to raise money or awareness of cancer, to be able to bring that up, to me is a positive. So that's why we do it. I think there's 5 or 6 teachers that are involved just in the high school. And like I said, Springfield Township Police does it. I know there's multiple guys that have done that. So just trying to bring awareness of it to be able to make sure. And then the kids do it for the playoffs. So I decided to dig in. 2 years ago, I did it. My wife doesn't like it. She said I didn't look very good, but I started it back this year. I shaved last year, but started back this year. So it was something. I'll throw a little dig at her because she makes fun of me because of it. But it's anytime we can bring awareness for cancer, I'm all for that.
Well, I'm going to shout out your wife. I'm going to have to agree with her and say she's right, because Springfield Nation, she is the boss of the Guerriero family, no doubt. But you know what? Shout out to the police department and all you guys that do that. There's a young lady, Sean, that I've got close with, that I've been at benefits with and raised money for. Payton is pretty sick right now. And there's a lot of things on social media from all of us at YSN to Payton. I know she watches these and watches the Springfield games on Saturday night. She's your biggest fan and supporter. So I know all of you guys have Payton in your mind when you take the field for the Springfield Tigers.
Hey, I remember her when she was here and she was doing the Little Tigers football camp. She is one tough cookie. So you said it. Shout out to her to keep battling it. But what a great family, and to be able to talk to her dad. He's texted me. What a great family, and you got to keep fighting.
Yeah, no doubt. Keep fighting, Payton. We're with you. Your entire family have all our love and prayers. The community and YSN for sure. All right, Mogadore, Saturday night, Salem Stadium, not bad travel. What were your thoughts when you first heard Salem Stadium? Great facility.
I was happy. We scrimmage Salem every year, so our kids are familiar with it. I think it's a great facility. So it's now to the point it doesn't matter where we play. We got to be able to get on a bus and get off the bus and stick with our routines and be ready to play mentally. So I was happy with that. It's close. And knowing who was going to win, whether it was Mogadore or LeBray, I knew it was going to be somewhat of a close travel for us. So I don't really think that bothers our kids to be able to get on the bus and do the routines. And again, I'm so regimented on that. I try to make sure no matter where we go, it's just, we're getting off the bus at the same time. We're doing the same thing. So our kids are used to that.
Well, that's awesome. Let's talk a little bit Mogadore for the Springfield fans out there. You've played them, a familiar opponent in the playoffs, quality team, a state power year in and year out. Does that help playing them each year? Different teams, yes. Do you go back and look at some things? Tell everybody about this year's Mogadore team.
We do. We go back and look and see what works. I think by playing in the past 2 years is something where you know what they're going to do. They kind of have that certain own, football type where they're going to cut a lot and do that offensively and defensively. They're going to try to take it, but their kids are animals. You know what I mean? They're kind of their own breed. They're going to play till the last whistle, and they have it. I think last week was their 700th win of their program. Coach Adorny does a great job in just that area. It's a football town. So I think for our kids to be able to, just know what to expect in a game like this, rather than having a team that we know nothing about, other than watching a game on film, and it's kind of hard. But I think our kids know and are expected on the effort that they're going to need to bring on Saturday. So they're a hard-nosed team. They run to the football. They're going to try to grind it out a little bit. So defensively, if we can get them off the field, I think that'll be, a bonus for us. And if we could jump on them early too, I think it takes them out of the game because they want to grind the ball out and run it.
Sure. I wanted to ask you, like watching them play, they love to run the football. Does playing a Berlin Center Western Reserve with the style that they like to play twice, different talents. Does that help you prepare a little more and Coach Lopek to get off the field and put them in long distance situations?
We have talked about that, and realistically, a lot of their formations, it is pretty similar to our kids. So we brought up that game, and Western Reserve, I thought, did a great job of slowing the game down and waiting for the clock. And I think it was 14-0 up to that point of halftime or something like that, 17-0. So I think they're going to try to do that and slow the game and try to limit our offensive possessions for that. So it is a similar type game that we're going to have to expect, and we just got to be able to make sure that we win first and second down, and like you said, put them in third and long. Still, they don't pass the ball a lot, but they do pass it very effectively. Talking about their passing game, they're not going to throw the ball 20 times a game, but it seems like he always throws for 13 for 15 and has great stats on that. So we just can't sleep that they're going to come out and grind it out. They have a good passing attack, and it's very effective for how they work it.
Yeah, we shout out Springfield Nation every week, so I'm going to do it again. They need you Saturday night at Salem Stadium. You've had great crowds. Coach, I talked with AJ. He flat out said cold weather doesn't matter. When you get a chance to play in the regional finals, does that help you the last 2 years of the playoff runs you played in all kinds of weather, practice in those situations? Does that help a veteran football team?
I think our kids' mindset right now is great. You know what I mean? I know right now on Wednesday it was 60 degrees. Yesterday it was 40 and windy, and our kids are able to handle that. So I kind of put that on the experience that we've had over the past couple of years. One thing we always talked about, for next week, I think it's exciting. We always talk about, and one of our goals would be to practice on Thanksgiving. I think for us to be able to hopefully come up with a win on Saturday, to be able to practice on Thanksgiving, there's not too many teams that are able to do that. But I think that's exciting for our kids. We talk about not having the Turkey Bowl game, but being able to prepare for a team. On Thanksgiving is something that we do talk about. And I think our kids get excited about that. But I give our kids over the past experience that they know how to handle it. I know some of our kids are out there in T-shirts still, and I don't know how they're doing because we're all bundled up and
we're old.
They've handled it very well, and it's something that really I don't think it bothers them mentally.
Well, that's awesome. With Coach Guerriero, Coach's Corner, Coach Guerrero's biggest keys to getting a win in practice the next Thanksgiving week.
I would think right now, if we can, it's going to be a little bit on our defense, I think, this week, because I think if we can get them off the field and get our offense back on, I think it's going to be key. And I'm going to go back this week. I think it's going to be special teams this week with that. They do a lot of different stuff. They huddle. They do a lot of different shifting and motion. So mentally, our kids got to be able to make sure that we understand that we're not going to, if it's 4th and 5, we can't jump or we can't move off of a shift or anything like that. They do a lot of things with that. We spent some time on it this week just to be able to make sure that we're not giving up a first down, but mentally we got to be zoned in. But I think if we can get them off the field and play great special teams this week, I think we'll give ourselves a good shot.
There you have it, Tiger Nation, right from the head ball coach's mouth. He needs you. The Tigers need you full force, Salem Stadium. We'll have it on YSN Live. Sean from DJ Oakley, Brian Scott, myself, wish you continued success, another win. And I know one thing on my end of it, I want to be at that practice next Thanksgiving, Thursday morning, and do these interviews as the Tigers prepare for that state semifinal. So best of luck to all of you. Have a good day of review, and best of luck tomorrow night against Mogadore.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it.